Okay.
To the left is,
Put my jacket on.
6 clicks to the right.
Now, on your
It's
camera, you
over.
got, yeah, but see, if you go on the Nikon, if you go to the right, you're going overexposed.
and to the left is negative.
Yes, that's underexposed.
Okay, then 6 clicks to the left and 6 clicks to the right on the,
No, one is the aperture, the other one's the shutter.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Um,
We'll have
Michelle, yours is here.
Okay.
Look, no one can lay claim to doing this perfect the first time they do it.
I was taking one picture.
All of you guys made some mistakes. We're going to talk about those mistakes. We're going to talk about what you need to do differently. I was expecting one of my former students who wanted to come back and sit in this class. She said she'd be here next week. So it's not too uncommon to have to revisit this information. That's one of the reasons I tell you to document everything you're doing, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's going to help you later on when you start analyzing what you're doing. Turn in your light assignments first of all. That's the first thing you have to do. That's okay. Bring it next time. Make sure you bring light assignment. Okay, light reflects and refracts. It definitely does. Very good. Light reflects and refracts. What did you get for me?
I just noticed the
On
little paint
fluorescent.
down
I
there.
do know
Okay.
fluorescent.
Okay, that's good.
Have we done that already?
No.
Has somebody done that already?
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about fluorescent a lot. And Curry and Michelle, you did northern lights. Very good. You know, about a year or two ago, you could actually see the northern lights in this area. It was like very, very amber, very reddish tones. But,
I'm from Michigan.
yeah, you probably see it quite often.
That's where I want to go to see.
Now, we do have some things that we need to do. First of all, wave to the camera so to let them know that everybody's live. I'll send you a link so you can see it and say hello. The struggle that you have is because you're learning something new. And if you were not struggling, in a sense, I would probably think that you're a little bit more advanced than beginners in photography. So in many ways, you're ahead of a lot of people because you're doing something that most people never stop to do. And that is start trying to learn what's actually happening when you push that shutter release button. You've just taken it for granted in years past or in times past that you've had a camera that you could just put it on what people call automatic. Or in some cases, people call it professional mode. They'll put it on program and they'll call that professional mode. It's anything but professional. Basically what you're doing is allowing the camera to make choices for you that you are not aware of, and two, are things that you can't predict. Lighting situations, lighting changes. You talked to me about how you were trying to do your exercise, and it went from sunny to overcast. Well, that's a common problem for photographers all the time. Lighting, and when it changes, you just adapt to the change. You either stop and take a new gray card reading, or if it's changing often enough, you take a gray card reading for when the sun is out and one for when it's overcast, and you compare the two. And you can either go in the middle, or you can decide to switch between the two as conditions change. All right, what's on our board tonight? A creative man is motivated by the desire to achieve, not by the desire to beat others. That quote is from a famous writer that I love. Her name is Ayn Rand. A creative man is motivated by the desire to achieve, not by the desire to beat others. The second quote is the glass half empty, half full, or is it twice the size it needs to be? Or in some cases, do you just have the wrong glass? Is the glass half full, half empty, or do you just have the wrong glass, or is it the size, twice the size it needs to be? You're going to run into some problems if you have poor lenses. I don't care what direction you run in or what you do. If you do an exercise indoors, let me see yours. If you do an exercise indoors, in this case right here, I probably wouldn't have picked a person. I probably wouldn't pick people to do this with. Because one, you're trying to concentrate.
Especially a 3-year-old.
Yes, on what you're doing. You pick the most challenging subject at the most challenging age. And of course you also picked backlight. There was a lot of backlight, and that's to be expected. So that was one thing I wouldn't have done. Secondly, let's look at how you did your over-under teeter-totter. Let's just look at one real quick. Let's use the little gnome right here because he's easy. This right here was your normal. Of course, this was your first shot. So what was that number from your gray card reading?
The gnome was 1160 F9.
1160 F9 ISO 100. What I want you to also do, give me more full notes like conditions, like time of day or whatever, or the weather conditions. Look, that's going to benefit you later. The more information you have on your notes, the more you'll benefit from it later. So you had F9 to start with at 1/60th of a second. Your 2 under was supposed to be 6 clicks close, which you did. Your 2 over was 6 clicks here. But here on your teeter-totter, it should look like this one. So get your camera out and put it on 1/60th of a second F9 for me. Because I noticed everybody that seemed to have teeter-tottered, you teeter-tottered correctly. You teeter-tottered incorrectly, and I think it's because you bottomed out on your numbers. You couldn't open or close it any further, so you just got to a certain point and didn't do it. So get your first ones out that you did. You're the only one that you did, but I want you to go back and do those. Yeah, go ahead and get your first ones out too. Well, I like printed pictures because I can handle them and shuffle them around if I need to. It's easier to do. So here, was this a false reading that you started with? Because this was the first one, second one.
Yeah.
And it looked like you had the same ones. And because you shot several, you did 3 of each. So that's 3, this is 3, 3. So let's pick one of these. Let's go this one as a normal, this one as an over.
Actually, I think this was my normal.
It was? Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go normal, over, under.
Okay.
And then you were to teeter-totter, and I think that's where you got confused. You did this as a teeter-totter. You zoomed in. Yeah, you zoomed in as a teeter-totter. Now, it looks similar to that one. But it's you zoomed in. So I think we're going to talk about teeter-totter, and I want to see your numbers too. Okay, so we're on F9.
Oh, I didn't put on F9, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Not doing it right.
Okay, we're on F9. I'm going to count your clicks. Let's go F9 at 160. Now, according to your numbers, you left it at F9. You changed your shutter, but you didn't change your aperture. You're supposed to change both. Yeah, you go. So that's you decided to go slower on your shutter speed. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means you have to then close the aperture by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That your number here should have been 1/40th at f18. That would have been your teeter-totter for this one right here. So you only changed one aspect of the equation when you teeter-totter. Everything else you did correctly. You just didn't teeter-totter correctly, okay? But make you a note right there. That should have been your teeter-totter. So your note. You started out at 1/13 because you did indoors. Now, you changed your shutter speed to do your under because you bottomed out on your aperture. That means you couldn't change the aperture anymore. Right? See, look right here. You did it 1/13, 5/6. Then to do your under, you sped up the shutter speed to make it 2 under because you bottomed out at 4/5. You couldn't open your aperture anymore. Your aperture won't open any more than that. Then you went to do your over, you went to 1/3 of a second at 5/6, and then teeter-totter you went to 1/8. So let's look at your numbers.
See, I didn't do on my teeter-totter. I didn't do to the left and then to the right.
You're supposed to.
On the,
that's why they don't look different. That's why they don't look the way they should. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Would you like a piece again?
Sure. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Now, your first one?
Are you up for confession?
Yes.
I did a gray car reading,
Uh-huh.
and it came up with 1/300th of a second.
Okay.
It was way too dark,
All right.
so I measured it on the grass nearby,
Okay.
which was darker, which came to 1/250th of the second.
You should have went with what the gray card gave you.
It was so dark.
I can't help it. Go trust the gray card because we're going to get to something called luminous value tonight. You picked a low luminous subject, a dark background.
Yeah, and my card was nice and bright.
Yes,
Yes.
a dark clothing.
Yes.
There's nothing in that that's high luminous.
That,
So everything that you shot was basically on the far end.
yes, and this was dark too.
This is why you went here to almost nothing, then you overexposed, and then you went back to your teeter-totter.
Yes.
And trust your gray card.
Okay.
Don't trust your eyes. Don't trust your eyes yet.
Okay.
I want you to trust your gray card.
Yes.
I want you to get used to doing a gray card reading. All right?
Just don't touch your gray card.
You did do the sequence correctly. Normal, under, over, teeter-totter. And you teeter-tottered because I can tell you closed your aperture and slowed down your shutter speed. Why? Because I can see your depth of field change in your background from this shot to this one. So you did it correctly. All right? Now, okay, everybody clear your minds of all the noise.
Everybody meet my husband. Looking good.
Yep. How you doing?
Sorry.
Everybody clear your mind of the noise. Hold on one second. Let's review. Last week we talked about getting a proper gray card reading. We also talked about what an aperture does, what a shutter does, and how they work together to get an exposure.